I crave your mouth, your voice, your hair, silent and starving. I prowl through the streets. Our fantasies are the hidden, sometimes untold images and thoughts that we have about sexual experiences. It is not just a thought process or dreaming, but that deep inner person in us, which may or may not be expressed. We will not talk about normal sex here. We all know that. We will talk about taboos and fantasies, what they says about you. So, it's actually a philosophical journey. Sit back, relax, and let's just start the video with a like. Let's go. So whenever we tiptoe into the realm of sexual fantasy, we are not simply being sinful. We are venturing into the realm of the mind. According to Dr. Justin Liemler, fantasies show who we are in our innermost selves, what we desperately need psychologically. Another feature that often appears in sexual fantasies is the top-bottom relation. This can come out in the form, the least to the extreme. Some people daydream about submission, while others want to rope their partner into submission. It can be said that the ones who like to be dominated can be tired of the everyday problems and just need somebody to tell them what to do. It can be a means to submit, to let go, and to feel helpless, as well as to please someone else. While those who prefer to control can be in search of power, others can be looking for ways to mask their incompetence. As we have to note, it is necessary to understand that these fantasies are not positive or negative per se. They're just an expression of who we are and what we want and need. As long as they are done in a safe and consensual manner, they can be fully rewarding. The third typical feature of sexual fantasies is people's desire to imagine they are in a different reality. It is true that roleplay and cosplay can help people to understand a different set of roles and experiences. This means that when acting out a part, people release themselves of the real-life roles they are bound to, even if only for a little while. It can be especially attractive for those who experience a sense of being stuck in their lives and who are unhappy. One is to escape from the real life and to have a taste of freedom and fun. However, it's important to strike a balance between fantasy and reality. While roleplay can be a fun and exciting way to spice up your sex life, it's essential to maintain a sense of grounding and to remember who you are. Many people are drawn to the allure of the taboo, whether it's BDSM, foot fetishes, or other unconventional practices. There's something undeniably exciting about exploring the boundaries of desire. Sometimes people who are extroverted, but forced to become introverted in societal pressure, are more likely to fantasize threesome and other incessive taboo. For some, these fantasies may be rooted in a desire to challenge societal norms or to express repressed desires. Others may be simply curious to experience something new and different. It's important to approach these fantasies with an open mind and a willingness to experiment. As long as everyone involved is consenting and comfortable, there's no reason to shy away from exploring your desires. What's fascinating is that sex and dream can be closely related. What we often scared of doing in real life, we fulfill the need in dreams. Much like that, our dominating or non-dominating behavior in sex can reflect what we lack. Fantasies involving submission, like those tied to BDSM, reveal an interesting psychological mechanism. People who prefer being dominated might seek release from the burdens of control they carry in their everyday lives. This desire might stem from an anxious attachment style, where one craves being wanted and adored intensely. What's fascinating here is the balance between these dynamics. Fantasies involving power, whether gained or surrendered, reflect a universal truth. Humans crave equilibrium. In a way, these desires aren't about the bedroom at all. They're metaphors for how we navigate life's push and pull, its victories and vulnerabilities. Our sexual fantasies are not merely products of our imagination. They're shaped by a complex interplay of psychological, biological and cultural factors. For example, role-play fantasies are often linked to a desire for control or freedom, depending on one's inner conflicts. Someone who feels trapped in a rigid routine might fantasize about taking on a daring, carefree role, a pirate, an adventurer, or even a superhero. On the other hand, someone who feels overwhelmed by chaos might find solace in adopting a submissive role where decisions are made for them and they can relinquish responsibility. Role-play isn't just escapism, it's self-expression for people who find themselves stuck in repetitive life patterns. These fantasies can reignite creativity and confidence. They can also help couples explore and deepen their connection, as stepping into new roles together often requires communication, trust, and mutual consent. Someone who is adventurous but suppressed for pressure or workload can have fetish for having sex on mountains or beach under open sky. One important factor is our attachment style, which is formed in early childhood through our interactions with primary caregivers. This is shown where people with an anxious attachment style may engage more in passionate and romantic fantasies in order to have a cure for their feeling of insecurity and abandonment. Alternatively, the individuals with an avoidant attachment style might select more dominant or submissive themes for the similar reasons for such a conception. Gives these people the sense of power or discharge. Dopamine and oxytocin are some of them neurotransmitters which are associated with sexual arousal and pleasure. Dopamine, known as the feel-good hormone, is usually released at the expectation or anticipation of reward-making dopamine, a key element in fantasies. Oxytocin, the hormone of bonding and trust, might make the partners feel even more connected after making love. Our sexual fantasy is also determined by our culture and the prevailing values and beliefs. It is a known fact that different cultures tolerate different kinds of sexual behavior. Therefore, these preferences can affect our sexual fantasies. For instance, cultures that are more conservative in this area will have different sexual standards as compared to more liberal cultures. Finally, the strength of sexual fantasy is in the ability to think. Using creativity, we can look into a great number of possibilities as to the desires and experiences that one can have. This can be a source of great pleasure and fulfillment if done health and peacefully without pressuring the other person. So, there is no correct way to fantasize. The best thing is to understand what you want and to search true passions and pleasures. Taboo fantasies, such as BDSM, group scenarios, or fetishes, offer an undeniable sense of thrill. For some, they are about rebellion, a deliberate rejection of the rules imposed by tradition or culture. For others, they are a gateway to self-discovery, a way of acknowledging and embracing parts of their psyche they may have suppressed or ignored. Extrovert can prefer group, party sex, pool sex, or outdoor sex, while generally introverts prefer threesome, passionate, or involving toys. Psychologically, exploring taboo can reflect an individual's relationship with power, freedom, and even shame. For instance, someone fascinated by group dynamics might not simply crave physical gratification, but could be seeking validation or an amplified sense of connection. Extroverts, for example, often report such fantasies because they are inherently drawn to energy, attention, and the interplay of social dynamics. On the flip side, introverts may lean toward more unconventional or private fantasies. As Dr. Justin Lehmiller's research suggests, introverts are often more open to exploring kinkier ideas because their inner world is a rich landscape of curiosity and imagination. For these individuals, the taboo is less about attention and more about personal liberation, a quiet defiance of conformity that resonates deeply within their private selves. There's also a psychological phenomenon at play, the forbidden fruit effect. The more something is deemed off-limits, the more enticing it becomes. Taboo fantasies capitalize on this, offering a rush of adrenaline and a sense of daring that can make the experience feel uniquely exhilarating. Foot fetishes, as we mentioned earlier, while they may seem unusual to some, research shows they are more common than one might think. Dr. Justin Liemler found that 14% means 1 in 7 people have fantasies involving feet, making it one of the most prevalent fetishes. Why feet? Some theories suggest it stems from early experiences where feet were associated with attention, affection, or comfort. Others point to the unique sensory and symbolic appeal they hold. Feet are both accessible and intimate, a paradox that sparks fascination. In the end, while sexual fantasies can be a source of pleasure and exploration, it's important to consider the ethical implications of these desires. Consent is key. Any sexual activity should always be consensual. It's crucial to respect the boundaries of others and to ensure that everyone involved is comfortable and willing to participate. Some people also have a dry hump fetish. In crowd or dark places, they just bad touch people. And it is straight up pathetic. It shows they have low self-esteem and concerned about their real bed performance. So, consent is most important, and taking your fantasies to life is a vulnerable position, and you can only share it with a partner who you love or trust. One more disgusting behavior is many people share their private images willingly to others' inboxes. It is a sign of suppressed narcissism and someone who is severely sex-deprived, and of course pathetic. Reality check. While fantasies can be a fun and exciting way to spice up your sex life, it's important to maintain a sense of reality. Don't let your fantasies overshadow your relationships or lead to unrealistic expectations. Fix it if it becomes problematic. If your sexual fantasies are causing distress or interfering with your daily life, it's important to seek professional help. Unrealistic or dark sexual fantasies can reflect a psychological problem called OCD. By approaching sexual fantasy with an open mind, a healthy attitude, and a strong sense of ethics, we can harness the power of our imagination to enhance our lives and relationships. I hope you enjoyed the video. Now please, like and share your valuable opinion with us. Thanks. Your flaws are perfect for the heart that's meant to love you. Trent Shelton.